Welcome to episode number 40 of People Talk Fanatics. I am here with my co-host, Chris Kern, and we got a lot to cover this episode with a really big slate of games that happened over the weekend on Saturday. And I'm really excited to dive into it. So before we get started, Chris, what games have you been tuning into?
So my main ones, I watched Indiana, Kansas basically throughout, and
Hmm.
then the rest of the day I was kind of in and out because I had to go to the Kansas State game, so I missed a lot of the evening games, but I was able to watch part of the Gonzaga Bama game and
Hmm.
Virginia Houston. I kind of switched back and forth between those. Those were the mains what I focused on before I left, and then I was able to catch part of Tennessee, Arizona when I got
Hmm.
back because that game was really late. So like I missed a good chunk, but I was still able to watch four top 50 matchups. Crazy. Like I gotta watch. I think a big game. I think those were the main ones. Yeah, those were the ones I didn't get to watch. UCLA, Kentucky,
Yeah.
Ohio State, North Carolina. Those are kind of the other two main ones
How
I
about
missed, but I was able to watch a good few of the ones.
how about the Gonzaga game?
Yes, that would. But I we knew that was gonna be a high scoring game
Yeah.
with the way two teams play, and they are great defensively, but that it still exceeded expectations. I felt like with how many points they put up.
Yeah. Braden Miller for Alabama was good.
What
He
the
dropped
stats were
36 points.
crazy.
Yeah.
36. He's a really good player.
Yeah, he is.
There were a lot of good performers in that game. And Timmy had a
Yeah.
great game like always. They can always count on him.
Hmm.
Let's see. I don't know off the top of my head. I thought, yeah, I'm looking at the stats now. Just a lot of just solid contributions from the rest of the guys, it felt like. And that is what they got.
Hmm.
Like
And
one, two, three.
Jaden Bradley also had 18 points.
Nice. So yeah, both. So they got that's what got it. So Gonzaga had a little more consistency from the other guys, and outs like Miller went off, Bradley, and then no
Hmm.
one else made more than shots. So other guys did like they had a few guys make a couple shots, but like Gonzaga had guys. I mean, was 12 for 18, and then you had like five different players who made like five or six shots,
Hmm.
and that kind of consistency around Timmy, I think, was kind of the difference of Miller was special, and like it was just a high scoring game. And Gonzaga was able to get a little bit of separation. I felt like going down the stretch, not like a ton, but they were able to get just enough to where they were able to kind of
Hmm.
set the tone, not necessarily set the tone, but like kind of control things enough down the stretch. Is what kind of how I felt watching. I didn't get to watch the very end, but like
Hmm.
I watched a good chunk later in the half. Yeah, that's how I felt they were able to do that and kind of control things that way.
I see Gonzaga has a pretty easy schedule. The upcoming next couple of games they have to play Montana, Eastern
Guessing they
Oregon.
don't have a conference.
The game
Yeah,
I'm
so they're heading the conference.
the game I'm interested to see is their game on January 5th against San Fran.
San Francisco. Those first three games of January are as tough as they can get in the West Coast
Yeah.
Conference, honestly. Three of the best, I would say three of the best four teams besides St. Mary's and them. That's probably the next three teams. Yes. I go at San
And
Francisco,
also
at Santa Clara, and at
and New Mexico and UNLV are good also.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, they don't play those two, I don't think,
Yeah.
though, at all. Yeah, but I mean, they'll be those teams. Any of those four other teams. I mean, there's a decent amount of teams
Hmm.
get them with some of their defensive flaws. Most of these teams don't have anybody close that can come to defending Timmy or even the rest of their players. So they won't lose more than you would think 2 or 3 games in conference play. They shouldn't lose any more than that.
Yeah.
But like a lot of these teams have guys who can score, so they're gonna be in a lot of close games. Not a lot, but like a lot of these road games, I think are gonna be very competitive. A little
Hmm.
bit different than what we've seen in the past.
What did you think about North Carolina's game?
That was yeah, it was a wild game. Just thinking about how they did things, and just like the score was like wild, and just like
Hmm.
I think Ohio State had a chance. I didn't get to watch the end of it, but did they get a chance to like win in regulation?
Uh, they won in overtime.
Okay, okay, that's what I thought. But I felt maybe I'm remembering wrong, but I felt like Ohio State should have won it in regulation
Yeah.
if I saw correctly. Because that one I wasn't able to tune in for much of, or actually any, because I was gone during that one. But just looking, I mean, they had 3 players who scored 20 points, and like that's the way it's going to be. They're going to be in a lot of games where their stars have to make. Oh yeah, Nance hit that. Sorry, I remember now. I did see it. Nance hit
Hmm.
that shot fourth overtime. Crazy.
Yeah.
I knew it. Yeah. So like they get they're so reliant on their main guys, and they were this way last season. Frankly, I mean, this is a good win out of Ohio State, but this North Carolina was way overhyped coming into the season,
Hmm.
and like yeah, it's been shown throughout this first months and then some of basketball for them. But they have a ton of talent. They have a really good starting lineup, and if they can get a little bit contribution off the bench from basically Johnson, that means he's the only one who's really playing for them. So they just big win though. Like you just take it one game at a time and
Hmm.
keep getting better. And they have the talent to get hot in March again, like they did last year. So definitely just continue to clean things up. I think, especially on the defensive end, and both
Hmm.
a little more consistency from the guys. But overall, just it's a big win. Ohio State's been a really good team this season.
North Carolina has Michigan next.
That'll be a tough one. Do you know where that one's at? Off the top of your head.
It's at Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay. Okay, cool. That's a cool one then.
It's the
Nice. So
Jumpman Invitational.
okay, nice. So they got a nice little neutral site game, so that'll be a fun one. Nice
Uh,
test before heading into conference play
yeah.
for both teams, honestly. Those are 2 teams that could really use a win heading into conference play because both have lost a couple tough ones in
Hmm.
the non-conference and more than they'd expect. But I mean, both still really good teams, so that'll definitely be a fun one to keep an eye on Wednesday.
I didn't want to skip over my Villanova Wildcats. They are finally above 500, and they've been playing some good ball. Brennan Slater is exceeding expectations the past couple of games, and uh, I just like the way Caleb Daniels, Brennan Slater, and Eric Dixon are all playing. They've been just pounding on the other teams lately, and I'm really interested to see how they do against a really tough St. John's team on Wednesday night.
Definitely agree. I mean, those are 3 guys who are going to really need to be more consistent, and they have been the
Hmm.
past couple of games, but more consistent heading into conference play because Villanova team they're not this elite roster that they've had in the past, and we're gonna have to really bring it on an every night basis to up some of these wins in conference play because winning on the road in the Big East is tough, no matter who you are and no matter like where you're playing. Like every road win's going to be tough, and like home wins are going to be a dogfight as well. Like every single game. That's what we
Hmm.
love about Big East basketball compared to most conferences don't have that kind of energy on
Yeah.
every like any matchup, anybody basically.
Hmm.
And it's gonna be a good one for both teams to get kind of rolling into conference play. Both teams
Yeah.
can really use that win to really get things going in the right direction because Villanova, they didn't get a lot of those wins in the non-conference that they would have liked.
Hmm.
But and then St. John's on the flip side, a chance to really get their their season conference season rolling with a big win against one of the top programs in the conference. It's a big one and definitely one to keep an eye on Wednesday.
Uh, I think they play. Let's see. They play St. John's, and then they got a big test the following Wednesday at UConn.
That is going to be a tough one. That's a
Yeah,
tough one. UConn's been the best team in the country up to this point. It's
yeah.
pretty crazy how dumb it's been.
I don't expect Villanova to win that game, but I think I
You'd love to
I
bet
just
it.
feel like I just feel like they could maybe slip in the win against the Johnnies. What do you think?
Yeah, St. John's, it's not a must win, but you have to win games like this. You want to be an NCAA tournament
Yeah.
against the middle of the pack teams. You got to rack up a lot of those wins, especially because you missed out on some great chances in
Hmm.
the non-conference. Missed of losing 5 games there is not what they're accustomed to, and you're gonna have to stack up a lot of these wins to get that quality resume to get into the NCAA tournament.
Hmm.
So it's one I do expect them to win, though.
Yeah. So, want to talk about your Kansas Jayhawks for a couple minutes?
They've been really good ever since the Tennessee loss. Like this game, they were fantastic in basically every
Hmm.
way. Especially, they did a fantastic job against Jackson Davis. He had 13 points. He only attempted 8 shots. Like
Hmm.
they were fantastic in that way, and they rebounded the ball well. They were shooting the ball well,
Hmm.
and the defense was phenomenal in every facet. Offensively, it's a little bit easier when you're so great on defensive end. Like Brady Dick within a lot of shots. Everyone chipped in a little bit offensively overall. But KJ Adams has really grown into his own since that Tennessee game. Really been big time performances these past 2 games, especially the Jayhawks. And the way they played, like the way they got after it on the defensive end is something that not very few teams. They're one of the best defensive teams in the country, and
Hmm.
it was really shown because a lot of the other defense teams like Houston, Virginia, they slow it down a lot more and like limit possessions.
Hmm.
Kansas has shown these past few games that they're still going to get out and run. Like they want to be aggressive defensively and like really get after you, make it tough for you. But they're not trying to play in like they're still trying to put up. They put up 100 against the and put up whether it's game like they're going to be great defensively and they're still going to really put up a lot of points. And that kind of sticks out for me, especially because the Tennessee game we were completely dominated in basically every way. Like kind of hung around, but like not really. We never really had a chance to win that one. Indiana game was definitely a tough one matchup wise, but they absolutely delivered and really made things very difficult for them on the offensive end.
So, what are your thoughts on the next couple of games they have?
We got Harvard on Thursday, and
Hmm.
then we get rolling in conference play. We got Oklahoma State at home New Year's Eve, which should be pretty not easy one because but like at home conference play win. And then we go to Texas Tech and West Virginia. So those are our first 2 road testing conference play. And games like those are kind of going to determine who wins the Big 12 conference and like how good this
Hmm.
team can actually be. Because winning at home and Outfield House against great teams is impressive, but being able to go on the road and beat some of these good teams is kind of what you see out of championship type teams. So it'll be interesting to see how they really get rolling in conference play with those games.
Before we move into the preview of the Marquette Providence game, what games are you most looking forward to this week in college basketball?
I'm trying to think. But today is pretty slow slate, I believe. But Virginia goes to Miami. tomorrow.
Mhm.
I think they go to Miami. That'll be a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Virginia at Miami. That'll be a fun one.
Mhm.
And then I think that's the main one. It's not a super competitive slate
Mhm.
because we don't have a lot of conference games yet. So like teams are finishing up, and we do have some conference games, and most of the better like not playing them all right before Christmas anyway. So it's kind of a weaker slate. I am excited for Illinois, Missouri on Thursday as well. I see that's a fun one.
Yeah.
But yeah, not a great slate, but Illinois, Missouri, and Virginia, Miami would definitely be the two that I'll keep my eye on.
I'm just looking at the schedule uh, for tomorrow. Um, do you think Wake Forest has the chance to upset Duke?
I do. Not a good one, but there's an outside chance. Wake Forest hasn't been great this season, but I mean Duke's been very flawed.
Yeah.
I expect Duke to win by about 10, but I could definitely see Wake Forest making that one interesting.
I'm just looking through the games. Uh, oh, a game that I'm really interested to see is San Francisco, Arizona State, which is
That'll be a really good one.
Wednesday night.
Okay, that'll be a good one
Yeah.
for sure. Those are two
Uh,
good teams.
as well as Colorado State, USC, the same
That's
night.
a one. So I just missed those Mountain West games. Yeah, those are a couple really
Yeah.
good ones. A couple teams who are really those are four teams who are all going to compete to try and make it into a tournament.
Hmm.
So things like this really add up heading into conference play, especially for those smaller conferences. And like the Pac-12, there's not necessarily a ton of like it's gone a lot better recently, but you don't have as many great wins at the bottom of the conference compared to these other power conferences. Any wins like this heading into conference play, all these teams.
And if you didn't see, USC upset Auburn last night. So
I did not see that. That was a big one.
I think Bogey Ellis went crazy for USC.
It's awesome. I didn't see
Yeah.
that. Yeah, he had 28 points. Dang.
Yeah.
Auburn's disappointed me a little bit. I felt they're a little bit overhyped, but they've lost a couple recently. That means they lost. I don't. I think it was at. They lost to Memphis. I know. I don't know where they played that game, but yeah, that's their second loss. Hopefully, they can get. I mean, they're heading to conference play soon, so we'll learn a lot about them very quickly with how they perform those far.
Hmm. So let's move into interesting Big East matchup. Marquette will be playing Providence. I think the game is tomorrow night, if I'm not mistaken.
It's tomorrow night.
Okay. So, what do you think about that game, and who has the edge of getting the win?
I will, both teams have impressed me a lot to start the season. Quite honestly, I believe because I think Marquette they beat Creighton at home
Hmm.
little while ago, I believe, and Providence just got a big win at Seton Hall a couple days ago. I believe that was Saturday morning.
Hmm.
Saturday, I watched that game as well, so like that was a fun one. Just Providence, a team that lost a lot of guys from last year's team, and that was very good. Made Sweet 16 battle Kansas in that game, and they've came back. They've lost a couple games maybe they shouldn't have, but I
Hmm.
mean they've battled and like this is a team that's really going to push for a really good chance to make the NCAA tournament again and really compete in this Big East conference. Like it's UConn's kind of established themselves as the best team, but other than that, Creighton's been very disappointing. Two
Hmm.
through eight or nine could be insanely competitive. So like these are the games like it's gonna be like everyone's gonna beat each other. Like there's gonna be a lot of insane games, but Providence and Marquette, two teams that I think really have a chance to kind of put themselves in that echelon of the Big East Conference. But I'm picking Providence to win. I really like the way they close that game against Seton Hall on the road. They were down by a few points. and then had a quickly like a 7-0 score or something, take the lead, and they kind of just really wouldn't control the final couple minutes. I think just super impressed with how they play, and I love Ed Cooley. He's a coach I trust more than anybody in the Big East Conference. So
Hmm.
I trust Providence. I think they're going to get it done at home.
What do you think about Oso Iguodalo for Marquette?
Sorry, who were you asking me about?
Uh, his name is Oso
Oh, did you say
Iguodalo.
Oso?
Yeah.
We do, yeah. That's okay. Yeah, he's been really solid for them. I haven't watched them a ton, I gotta
Hmm.
admit, but overall, he's been solid from what I've seen. I
Hmm.
think they have a good group of guys. I've noticed. To the tops, they have two guys, so he's kind of the third scorer, but he's been a big part of them rebounding, a big rebounder for them. And he's
Hmm.
also I see he's averaging a few assists as well. So like he's doing a little bit of everything for him. And I feel like that's what a lot of those guys do. A lot of guys who can do multiple things for them and
Hmm.
kind of not just ton of scores as a defender. Like they're guys who kind of contribute in a lot of different ways. I think that's something you see in the Big East. Just he's been a good player for them, and excited to see how he and like how they all play going into conference play.
Hmm.
Just because like he's gonna have some big matchups going into the rest of the season. Like he's got he's gonna have to play big in some of these games. Like goes a stud, Eric Dixon. Like he's gonna be really battled, tested, and
Hmm.
I don't know. I haven't watched enough more catch to know exactly like how they'll do it defensively against some of these Big East. So that's something I'm interested to see how they defend and like how they kind of match, even on offense, how they kind of match up and kind of try to minimize the impact that some of those big seven on defense. And I don't know from what I've seen, but he'll kind of need to take that next step. I think if they're going to be a contender to like really be one of the top teams, and because a lot of these other teams have a big done it before, or at least not a lot, honestly. A couple teams have bigs that we know we could trust on most nights to really perform. But and can he become another one of those guys? And if he can, I think it's really going to elevate this market.
So, got anything else to cover, or I think we got everything.
I think we're good. Yeah, it's pretty. We're a couple Big East games, and you mentioned those Pac-12 teams. A couple of them getting some tests as well from the mid majors
Hmm.
out west. But overall, this week is always kind of slow. We have a couple good games the first couple of days, but then a couple slow days. I don't even know what the technical off days are for.
Hmm.
It's probably just 24th. I think it's like 25th and 26th or 24th. Not a
I
lot of
think
games those 2 days.
I think the Hawaiian Airlines Classic is happening. I think it's Saturday,
Saturday.
Saturday and Sunday. I think.
I don't see it on my schedule. Is it a Christmas game? DePaul plays Creighton on Christmas. I see that they play at 3:30. It's an
Yeah,
interesting one.
yeah.
But other than that, I don't see anything else. I heard about the Hawaiian Classic though. It's a little bit earlier in the week, maybe.
Oh, it might be
But
midweek or something.
I say it says I'm on the score app, but it says the 24th and the 26th is no game.
Uh,
Then on Christmas, DePaul plays Creighton. It's an interesting matchup. Like Fox is, they wanted like they're a big East. They wanted to
yeah.
get those teams. They might go for a little more marquee matchup, but
I
we just
won't
got
be
one
able
game
to.
to keep an eye on.
I won't be able to watch that game because I'll be at the Dolphins game.
Yeah. Oh, you can be at the Dolphins game on Christmas.
Yeah,
Who do they play?
Green Bay.
Nice. That'll be a
Yeah,
fun one. I've always wanted to go to a
yeah.
game on Christmas. I'm still debating going on Christmas Eve to the game. I gotta decide. The weather's gonna be bad, so I'm just gonna wait. So yeah, just Christmas was so big into like NBA and college football, bowl games, and NFL's kind of taken more of a jump with really prioritizing Christmas days. It's also a Sunday, so it's a little different. College basketball just kind of takes a backseat for these few days, but then we get conference play rolling up, right? I mean, some of them rolling up this week, and then for the rest of the conferences, will really pick up right after Christmas, heading into the new year. So finish up college football season, and then college basketball is going to be rolling.
Yep. So I'm not sure if we will be doing an episode right after Christmas, but um, but for the viewers, definitely look forward to seeing us two back at it sometime after New Year's, and we will definitely have a loaded January coming up for college hoops, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Definitely looking forward to it. Yeah, whenever we hop back on again, it'll be right when a lot of conference games are happening around that New Year time. So I'm sure we'll have a ton to talk about. So I'm looking forward to it.
Same.